for me, you're obvious. I could see there's a lot to like, and I enjoyed you watching your early time in WWE. But the way is where I was like, right, I loved everyone in that group because it was just a great group, and that's where I felt like you really started to flourish. Do you feel the same? Like, was that the best for you working alongside Johnny, Candice, and Indy?
Yeah, that was just one of those things where before the group started, it was cool. It's like one day I just kind of realized, like, I just felt like I was just trying to be the serious guy in the ring, and just because that's what a wrestler should do.
Yeah.
And I was just like, but like, why am I not feeling like I'm getting that reaction? Probably because I'm just too focused on what I'm doing in here and I'm not trying to be myself. And when I started kind of letting loose and being myself, and I even asked Johnny Gargano about that with the way before we even started, the idea there was for me to just stand behind Johnny like this and just be serious. And I was like, screw that. Like, I'm glad I just had this whole thought process because I got this thing I want to try. Johnny was like, try it out. And I tried it out and then it took off. And we had this, like, me as this goofy guy, this father-son dynamic and this whole family. And I was just like the goofy son. And but it was good because I'm somebody that I like making jokes. I like having a good time. So it was just easy for me, and it was just me kind of getting to be myself. But I had to add a little more in. But it just made the transition now like way more easier.
Yeah, I thought you grew exponentially in that group, and a great sign in the way was it kind of meant to be bad guys, but they were just so good and entertaining that everybody couldn't help but love the way. So, man, it was great. But yeah, again, I mean, now you're on the main roster. Whose idea was the selfie stuff?
So it just kind of got brought to me that was the idea, and I was like, okay, sounds good. And why I thought it was cool and different is because I was like, they want me to beat people up and take pictures of them. And I'm like, this is just like brutal. Like, okay, it sounds cool. Like, yeah, I'll do it. And then to me, I've always been one of those people where I like to remember moments. So I think pictures are like super important, And for me, it's like now at least I get to capture something from that. And I have all these selfies now with Jeff Hardy, Rey Mysterio, Mr. McMahon, Bobby Lashley, Seth Rollins, Brock Lesnar. It's crazy. Yeah, so I'm very glad that was an idea for me, and I took full advantage of that.
But before Pat McAfee was your path at WrestleMania, like, again, I have no idea when that was put together, but like, did you have any hopes or dreams when you look at the WWE roster now of who you'd like to face at Mania?
Yeah, there's definitely a few matches that I have on mind. But I think when it comes to a match that I personally want, it's always going to be me versus John Cena.
Yeah.
And I don't want to, I like that everything's happening pretty quick right now because I want to build myself up to where people are like, okay, this is a match where we could see, a possibility. And because, John Cena has that legacy and everything he's done, I want to come in there with like, okay, this guy, he's got a chance. So that's definitely my ultimate dream match. That's definitely a match that I look forward to. But of course, you got matches that I could see myself in at WrestleMania against, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar again. But yeah, those are definitely some names that I'd love to get in there with, especially at a WrestleMania.
A quick one on NXT before I go to some closing quick fire stuff. Obviously, we've seen it change a bit since you've left now it's NXT 2.0. But just speaking on your experience when you were there, like, how was it under Shawn Michaels, Triple H? Like, what did they do for Austin Theory?
So something really cool. I found myself more so falling towards Shawn Michaels a lot. Triple H was always there if I needed advice or wanted to ask a question. But Shawn was just, I had class with Shawn. I was like in a class where we'd go back and watch matches. But he was always telling me, I remember something specifically he said when I first got there, and I think I was 22. And I go, and this was the most confusing thing, but I'm glad I figured it out. And I actually figured it out pretty quickly, which is awesome. But he told me, he said, hey, when you go out there, he's like, are you having fun? And I was like, yeah, I'm having fun. And he was like, you know, just like hearing the people and everything. And I was just kind of like, well, I don't really know if I hear the people because I'm so focused on what I'm trying to do in the ring. And he was like, yeah, he was like, you know, you just got to find who you are. You got to just be yourself. And then as soon as he tells me, you know, you got to be yourself, he goes, but, you know, when I was 22, I didn't know who I was. So I'm like, wait, what?
What does that mean?
What do you, yeah, I'm like, wait, what do you mean? Like, so then I would think about that a lot though, you know, and I was still doing the same thing, but I was trying to figure it out. I was like, what does this mean? Be yourself. Like, and then I started realizing like, dude, just let a little loose, like have fun. Like, you know, and everybody knows being, you know, outside of the ring and getting to do promos and backstages, that's what makes that character. That's what gets people invested. You know, it'd be the same thing as a movie, just watching a movie do action the whole time. You're not really going to relate to anybody. So to me, just learning that and just that little piece of funny advice he gave me at the time just went a long way because I really was just trying to figure that out. I'm like, you know, Shawn Michaels just isn't going to say this to somebody. So I got to figure this out.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing that I like about NXT and you get some cool stories from sometimes is that you always have these guest coaches come right to the PC and a lot of legends stop by. So I think it's worth saying, you know, rest in peace to Scott Hall, who sadly passed away this week. Do you have any favorite guest coaches that have come through the PC or, you know, people that you either dug or were great?
God, it's so funny you bring up Scott Hall. Rest easy to him, man. He actually, I remember he showed up to the PC with Kevin Nash and Scott Hall. It's cool. I actually met him when I was on the Independence in Georgia, and really nice guy, very cool. Gave me a lot of advice. But I remember I seen him at the Performance Center, and I think it was like a big guys class, and it's just like, you know, Omos is in there, just these huge dudes with Kevin Nash and Scott Hall. And they told me to come get in there. And they're like, oh, well, you know, he can move pretty easy. So he'll be the one to like, he can take everything. And I'm so grateful Scott Hall was there because he's like, oh, no, this guy, he don't need to take all this. He's the future. He was like, he don't need to take all this stuff. I was like, yo, you're the best. Yeah, he's an awesome man.
Rest in peace, Scott, man. What a great life and great career he had. Right, moving into some final quick fire ones for you here. These are some personal, some wrestling related. What was your first car?
My first car was I want to say it was like a 2000 Ford Explorer. And it was so loud, man. I hated it.
I had a Ford though. They're reliable, man. You got to go.
Yeah, they're great. Oh, and even to when I got rid of it, you know, it lasted me for a long time. So
can't knock it. Can't knock it.
Yeah.
What was your first job, like non-wrestling?
I think my first job, I worked at Marble Slab. If you don't know what that is, it's like an ice cream place where they have like it's like the granite and they scrape it up and roll it up like the ice cream. Yeah, there was a bunch of people from my high school that went to get this job on the same day, and a lot of them quit, but I didn't. But I just wasn't no good at making ice cream, man. I kept breaking the cones. So I think they were like, hey, man, we appreciate your drive, your passion, but this isn't your job. I was like, I didn't think so either, but I'm just trying, you know.
How old were you, man? Were you like the most Jack's ice cream maker in the world?
Dude, I had to be. I was like, because I started working out at 12. I think I was 16 or 17. I already had just like a hustler mindset as a kid. So I was very like determined, and I tried my best to make those ice cream cones, man. I really did. But you know, it worked out. I'm going to WrestleMania.
I would say you've done all right. I'd say you've done okay. Somebody in the wrestling business you were starstruck by?
Definitely John Cena.
Where did you meet?
So the first time I met John Cena, he was coming into the Performance Center to do just a meeting with all the talent, just to talk to us. But he told us after that meeting that he would stay and talk to everybody individually if they wanted to.
Wow.
So I stayed. Yeah, I stayed and got to talk to him one-on-one. And I just didn't even know what to say to him because I'm like, dude, I like modeled my whole life after you. I don't really know what to say.
And I want to fight you, John. Yeah, cut a promo
Yeah.
in at DC.
Yeah.
What about the stiff? I always break this in stiffest / strongest opponent because, you know, who would you say is the strongest?
Definitely Brock Lesnar.
You feel that power, right?
Yeah, I'm a 220-pound guy, man, and I was flat on my stomach, and next thing I know, I'm just flying through the air, and I'm like, "Did you want any help?" Because you know,
no posting, none of that. Get out.
Like, all right, never mind. I'll call you back when I get off this flight.
What's your best or worst road buddy? Both, even.
Oh, man. You know, I would say my best is Matt Riddle.
That sounds like a fun guy.
Just because he's always down to if I want to go to the gym, because I eat a lot and I obviously work out, and on the road, you know, it's very quick, and you know, a lot of people have certain things they like to do, but with him, he's always down to eat, and I always need to get meals in, you know, just to keep my size and everything, and working out super important. And he's one of those people. He's just a freak athlete, and you know, he's always been training. So that's somebody that it's real easy to just get in the car with and get everything done.
I like it. I like it. And finally, most memorable thing Vince has ever said to you?
The most memorable thing, I don't know why I would never forget this, but just it's that simple. Expect the unexpected. I think that is just such a real thing. Like, it's so real. Like, as much as people are like, oh, it's part of the show, like, no, man, this is real. Like, when you show up to work for the WWE, you got to expect the unexpected, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's a slogan, but also the landscape of WWE, I think, actually, yes, you're damn right. With that, man, thank you so much for joining TalkSport today, Austin, man. I richly enjoyed getting to know you a bit better, brother, and cannot wait to see what you and Pat McAfee pull off at WrestleMania.